This video is going to teach you how to use YACS. YACS is a course scheduling website built by RPI students for RPI students. The first two things we'll teach you are the logistics. We'll show you how to search for a course and how to add it to the scheduling tool. The second half of this video is where the real magic happens. We'll teach you the tips and tricks your hub advisors use when schedule building so you can do it for yourself. We'll show you how to use YACS and SIS, the Student Information System, in conjunction to make sure that you're building effective schedules in YACS. We'll also show you how to troubleshoot your schedule on the fly if something fills up during registration. So to start, let's talk about finding a class. There are 3 different ways you can do this. One is to click on the department the class is in. This isn't something you'll very likely do often, but it can be good when you're searching through different HAAS options and want a more comprehensive list. So, for example, I'll take a look at the first year inquiry classes, IHSS. Clicking on the department will bring up all of the different options for fall. As you can see, there are a whole lot of them. Another way to search is by course code. So, if I type in the course code for Physics 1, which is Physics 1100, the course title will come up and I can add that to my schedule. The last way to search for a class is by title. So if you know you want to take Calculus 1, you can simply type that in, click on it, and you'll be good to go. Now, as you've seen me go along, I've been clicking to add things to the schedule. There are 2 different ways you can do that. With a lot of the classes you'll take in your first year, there are many sections. There's not just one class of Calculus 1, there's over 50. So, when using YACS, if you want to consider all possible sections, you click on the little sidebar next to the course title. This will highlight all of them, and when they're highlighted in red, that means they've been selected. If I didn't want to consider all sections and instead wanted to limit my selection, I can just click on specific sections. So if I only wanted to look at sections 3, 5, and 7, that's fine. I can do that and click Schedule to add them to the scheduling tool. As you add classes, they'll end up in this sidebar on the left. From here, you can do some different tweaks. So again, you can take sections off your schedule, you can add sections to your schedule, all sorts of things. Now, one thing to keep in mind is sometimes you'll see these little red notification dots here, like you see next to section 2. That means it's a conflict. It means that it's impossible to take based on another class you have in your schedule. Don't worry if you see those, as long as you don't see it for all sections of a class. Now that we have this information, I'm going to just add a few more classes to make this a full-blown schedule. So I'll add Computer Science 1 and Principles of Economics. Sometimes YACS will be a little bit slow. Okay, so once I have all of my courses inputted, then I can click on Schedule to see how many options I have. You're going to find, once this loads, that you often will have many. There are over 700 schedules to look at. Now, obviously, that would be impossible to go through, or at least it would be highly unrealistic. So this is where you want to use YACS and SIS as a team. So what I always suggest is for students to split their screen. Have YACS open on one side and SIS open on the other. So first thing you want to do is make sure that you're only considering open sections when you're looking in YACS. YACS's one fatal flaw is that it is not always up to date with how many seats are in a class. It talks to the servers that SIS runs from about once or twice a day. This is great for general planning, but in the middle of registration where things are changing on the minute, you're going to want to have SIS open. Always rely on SIS for seat availability. With that being said, this can also be helpful in narrowing schedules down because I can take out full sections. So for example, I pulled up the fall 2019 schedule, and we're going to use that as our way to narrow down these Comp Sci 1 classes for an example. So if I were going to register, I would say, okay, section 2 is full, so I'm going to take that out of the scheduler. I'm also going to remove section 4, section 5, section 8, and section 14. You can see that by doing this, the number of schedules is shrinking dramatically here. I haven't touched any of my classes other than computer science, and I've already cut this down by over 100 schedules. Obviously, narrowing things down by what's closed versus open is a good and I would say necessary first step, but you might still have hundreds of schedules to choose from. So then you can start trying to narrow by preference. So for me personally, I am much more of a morning person than a night person. So I'm looking at these sections here with these lectures that are from 4 to 6, and that's not really my jam. So I'm going to take those off as well. And just by doing that, we've cut down over half of the schedules. So this is probably the most important skill you can learn. So remember, always reference SIS. SIS is the master list. YACS is not always up to date with seats. But this is one last trick we'll teach you. Let's say you go to register and 3 out of your 4 classes work. This doesn't mean you have to necessarily blow up your whole schedule. So let's take a look at what I have over here on YACS. Let's say I went to register and I got everything except my Haas class. I'm going to remove that from the scheduler just for the sake of an example. So let's say I got this exact schedule on the screen. What I can do is lock my current schedule. So what I would say is, okay, I'm in physics section 1. I'm going to remove all of the sections except the one I'm already registered for. So that's the only one being considered in the scheduling tool. I'm going to go ahead and do that for my other things as well. The advantage this gives you is now if you're trying to look for another Haas class, for example, you'll be able to see right off the bat which ones can still work with your schedule. So let's go back over to the IHSS list. Now as I scroll, anything with this yellow bubble that says conflicting sections is one that won't work with my current schedule because it conflicts somewhere along the timeline. However, I can see that tons and tons of these will work with my current schedule. The last little trick we'll teach you is about CRNs, or course registration numbers. These are numbers you're going to want to type into SIS when you go to officially register. To get whatever schedule you have on your YACS screen, just look at the upper right-hand corner. This will give you a list of the 5-digit CRNs that you need to enter to get into your schedule. Overall, YACS is a powerful tool when used correctly. Use it as we've shown you in this video, and it'll help you build your first schedule. But as always, if you're having trouble, ask a hub advisor. We do this all day, and we'll be happy to jump in and help.